What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and continue learning about weird facts about British life. Part 3. If you haven't checked out part 1 or part 2, feel free to go do that. We've been learning lots of weird stuff, to say the least. Some of the stuff we've heard about is how people in Britain like to say sorry. Very, very confusing stuff for an American. Let me mention that. Sunlight, British cuisine, pubs, fake tanning, thanking the bus driver. These these facts are all over the place, in the best way possible. And we have about 17 left. There's 50 total weird and confusing facts. And I'm at my wit's end, but I'm ready for the final 17 facts about British life and culture. This has honestly been very enjoyable for me and educational. So, with that being said, let's take a look.
Number 33, we drive on the left, but we walk on the right. So you must drive on the left-hand side of the road, but you must go up the escalator on the right.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, this is probably a fact that most Americans actually do know. There is not a great number of things Americans know about other countries, particularly Britain, but we know that there's a royal family. We know that there's English breakfast. And we know that you drive on the wrong side of the road. Excuse me, I had to slip that one in there. No, just the other side of the road. Actually, I learned from another video that this actually causes a lot of tourists to look the wrong way before they cross the street, which is actually dangerous because you expect cars to be coming from one direction. Anyway, this is worth mentioning. It is definitely weird and confusing, especially for Americans. And yeah, but you still go up escalators on the right side, but you drive down the left. That even makes it more confusing. I guess that fits right perfectly in with this video.
So you must drive on the left-hand side of the road, but you must go up the escalator on the right.
Right.
Number 34, when something is in fashion, all women end up wearing the same thing, even if it doesn't suit them. I've had so many friends come over from abroad and say, oh my God, everyone is wearing the same thing. And I hadn't noticed it before, but it is true. I remember there was a fashion...
I mean, isn't that the definition of fashion, though? That everyone kind of subscribes to it and copies it and wants to do the latest, greatest fashion trend. I feel like fashion trends were such a big thing, like, when I was growing up, and now it seems like the fashionable thing is to just do your own thing. Is that true or not? Or am I just out of touch with... Maybe I'm not the best person to ask about this one.
...of like quite see-through black leggings. And they didn't look good on anyone, but everyone seemed to wear them. With the wrong coloured underwear underneath. Number 35, when we're 18, we are sort of expected by our parents to move out and start our lives. In a lot of countries, people will stay with their parents till they're well in their 30s.
Exactly. I was just about to say, I feel like this is not necessarily the norm, although this is absolutely the same as in America. There is a stigma that you are expected to basically move out, quit mooching off your parents. It has a very negative connotation, a very negative stereotype if you're living with your parents after the age of 18, even though it seems like maybe a huge amount, maybe even a majority of people in this day and age are honestly in a financial situation where it would really make sense to live with your parents well beyond the age of 18. And apparently, in countries around the world, besides Britain and America, families are doing this. Families are open to this. So, I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate for us, honestly.
Here, we just want to get out as soon as possible, and our parents want us out as soon as possible. If we go to university, we go at 18, and we normally go to a university that's quite far from our own home. However, if we're going to start a job straight away, then yes, we might stay with our parents a bit longer. It is becoming more common to move back in with your parents after you finish university. That's something.
Interesting. I mean, I think that's all great. And I definitely agree with her that in America, there's a huge amount of kids that just want to get out of the house by the time they're 18, but then kind of find out how difficult it is these days to like make a living and survive on your own compared to like 50 years ago or something. So, yeah, more people, I would imagine if there was data on this, there's probably an increasing number of young people moving back in with their parents, and that's becoming increasingly more normal. Kind of like the same thing going on in Britain.
Thing that I did for 6-ish months when I was starting my business after graduating. Number 36, our university fees are high. Very, very high. For UK residents, £9,000 a year. Grand is pounds, £1,000, £9,000 a year. And for international students, it can be much, much higher.
Yeah, well, I don't know how famous America is around the world for this, but I feel like America is pretty well known for our outrageous costs of higher education. It is just absurd. And they have all these programs for taking out huge loans, huge sums of money to pay for your education, even though you're still a teenager, you're 18 or something when you sign these things, and it's not great. It's not great. I think there's charts of like how much inflation has increased like the cost of most normal goods in America. And then on that same chart, if you have the price of college or university, it goes ridiculously higher than just the normal inflation, the normal increase of prices. Of all the things to make unobtainable, why would a country want education to be so out of reach for so many of their citizens? That literally hurts the United States. It's baffling, honestly. It's kind of baffling.
Number 37, we have ice cream trucks that drive around our villages playing a tune, like a little dingy bell tune, and it's the most exciting sound as a child.
This is why I love this video. It goes from what side of the street you need to drive on to how much it costs to get an education to ice cream trucks, which do exist in America. Very nostalgic, very, very nostalgic. The ice cream truck plays a little tune. You can run up to it, pay for your little ice cream SpongeBob with the gumball eyes, and go about your day.
I never had it because I lived in a rural village. But when I went to the park or to see friends, I remember hearing this noise and being like, "Ah, the ice cream man!" Yeah. But I think my friend's mum told her that the ice cream man only played this tune when he'd run out of ice cream, which I think is the meanest thing ever. Number 38, we don't use our car horns that often. They are for angry emergencies. Or just emergencies, not necessarily angry ones. I went to Bali last year or the year before, and they just use them all the time to say hello and to nudge people. No, over here, car horns are quite a big deal.
Okay, well, I'm glad she clarified that. I think, by the sound of this, America lands somewhere in the middle, where car horn is supposed to be for emergency situations, but don't be surprised if someone honks at you if you take too long at a stop sign, or if the light changes to green and it's time to go, and you take a moment to collect yourself. Don't be surprised if someone starts honking at you, which isn't an emergency. So Americans are definitely willing to honk. Definitely. But never really to say hello. Maybe if you're passing your buddy on the street and you honk at him to give him a little scare, a little hello. But just car to car, Americans are definitely willing to use the horn. Definitely.
And if someone beeps their horn at you, you spend the rest of the car journey getting over it. I've had one car horn ruin my entire day. 39. Car drivers hate cyclists, and cyclists hate car drivers. It's a war on the road at the moment. Cycling has increased massively in popularity, and car drivers are not happy about it.
Okay, I think I can't really relate to that one because there's not a lot of cycling going on in the roads of America, to be perfectly honest. Not a lot of transportation like that, walking, running, bicycling. Sure, but they're mostly on the sidewalk and not too many bicyclers trying to share the road. I think that's the main thing. So, can't really relate to this, but I could see where that could like create some kind of tension perhaps.
40. Our supermarkets are very big and they have a huge range of pre-prepared food, so ready meals to cook in the microwave. I've been to lots of other countries and I've never seen the range that we have, apart from perhaps in America. 41.
I was about to I was about to jump in and say, "Hey, no, we are the undisputed masters of pre-prepared dinners." I mean, if you run into an American Walmart, you are going to get your pick. It's one of the best things about living in America is the grocery stores. The ridiculous selection of prepared food and I mean of everything basically, especially this between you and me, especially the snack aisle, but also the prepared microwave oven dinners. There's a million of them. It's great.
If we live in a city, we tend to totally mind our own business. We don't talk to our neighbours. We may be stretched to a hello sometimes, and you really don't get to know people outside of your own friend group and, you know, your social activities and work. In a village, however, it's completely different, and you have quite a hard time protecting your business. If you tell a secret to someone, the whole village will know. I kind of like it though.
Huh. That's funny that she uses the word village. We don't really use that word in America. Maybe like a small town or something? A small residential area? People might know each other more. I don't live in a major, big, bustling city, but I could easily see how that kind of atmosphere could make it difficult to get opportunities to know people, your neighbors and stuff. It's not quite the same as like a neighborhood or something where you might see people walking around or your neighbor out on their lawn. So I can just logically you can see that to be true in America as well.
Number 42, we find it incredibly rude if somebody talks on their phone loudly on public transport. And the best example of this is the train going to and from Luton Airport and Gatwick Airport. You can see before it arrives to Gatwick, everyone's just sitting in silence. And then as soon as you've gone past it, it's just filled with tourists that don't know, you know, our society rules.
I was going to say, it sounds like from what she is saying, people in Britain are actually good at obeying this social rule, this social norm of not talking on your phone on the bus or train? Am I hearing that correctly?
And work. In a village, however, it's... Number 42, we find it incredibly rude if somebody talks on their phone loudly on public transport.
So you can talk on your phone, just not loudly? Well, let me dispel any confusion here. In America, people are going to do whatever they want with their phone. Talk on it loudly, talk on it quietly, sing into their phone, yell into their phone. There are no rules. You might get stared at. People, like, don't get me wrong, people think it can be strange or look over at them and be like, oh, what are they yelling about? But that's not going to stop Americans from doing it all the time. So it's kind of a funny dichotomy there. Americans do think it's odd, yet that doesn't stop Americans from doing it. So, I don't know, take that for what you will.
Just sitting in silence, and then as soon as you've gone our society rules, just talking really, really loudly to their mums, say that they've arrived safely, and all of the British people looking like, talking loudly on public transport, what do we do?
Yeah.
43, our tabloid gossip newspapers are disgusting. They are terrible. They lie so much, but we all secretly read them.
So it's exactly like America. Exactly the same.
I can't say all of us, but many of us will secretly read the Daily Mail.
Okay.
44. In the countryside especially, we have milk delivered to our doorstep in bottles. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm really passionate about supporting our local milkman.
Really? Still? Still to this day in 2023? Milk delivered to your door in the little bottles? I really thought that was from movies, like long ago. Like I don't like you could have told me that hasn't been done since the 1800s and I would have believed you. I have never seen milk delivered like that in the real world. This is kind of shocking to me.
And in the countryside especially, we have milk delivered to our doorstep in bottles. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm really passionate about supporting our local milkman and supporting our local dairy farmers.
Our local dairy farmers, maybe that's the problem. I don't even know who our local dairy farmer, or I don't think we have a milkman, but I appreciate the sentiment, I guess. Like supporting local businesses and small businesses, and if they deliver you a high quality milk product, then yeah, absolutely I support supporting the milkman. I just didn't know there was a milkman.
Get my milk delivered on Monday and Thursday, and I love it. It's amazing. We always have fresh milk at the door. 45.
It probably is good, huh? Like getting it locally and freshly delivered. That's probably like brings the whole milk to another level. Be interesting to taste it.
And Thursday, and I love it. It's amazing. We always have fresh milk at the door. 45. We generally tip 10% in restaurants. And we prefer to tip it in cash because then we know it goes directly to the waiter or waitress.
Sure.
However, some restaurants, especially London restaurants or chain restaurants, will already add a service charge to your bill, which is normally 12.5%.
Oh, I didn't remember that Britain did the... Well, it sometimes includes a service charge, but not all the time. That's confusing. Oh my, I feel like I would end up tipping and paying the service charge by accident. Funny that she went with 10%. If we're getting specific, I think in America, most people would agree you should tip 15 to 20%, honestly. 10%, I've never heard anyone say 10%. Is that actually considered normal in Britain? I'm very curious now.
And some of us will get very angry about this and will ask for that to be taken off and will instead give cash directly to the waiter or waitress.
Yeah. I'd rather do that. I'd rather just tip the waiter, personally.
Because we know that they are not on the best wages. And those tips form a big part of what they earn. And yes, I do that. 46, we're very indirect. Instead of saying, I don't like it, we would say, well, I don't hate it. Or, it's not my cup of tea. We just hate being straight to the point. We don't like offending people. But it can be very, very confusing for people who aren't from here.
Yeah, I think in America you'll find a bit of a mix. But many Americans are perfectly comfortable telling you exactly how they feel about things. But then there's also a portion of people who are exactly like this. Like, it just kind of depends on your personality. Some people don't want to offend you or do anything like that, and I think that's kind, respectful. But don't be surprised if you run into some Americans who are more than willing to give their real thoughts on it.
47, most Sundays we have a meal called a Sunday roast. We normally have it in a pub or our mum will cook it for us. And it's the best meal in the world. And everyone's favourite Sunday roast is their mum's Sunday roast.
The Sunday roast. I literally just heard about this magical, mystical Sunday roast, like, very recently. So I'm glad we're talking about it.
It's the best meal in the world. And everyone's favourite Sunday roast is their mum's Sunday roast.
Of course.
And their mum's Sunday roast is supposedly better than any other Sunday roast. But everyone says that.
Of course.
But my mum's genuinely is the best.
Yeah, we don't have a Sunday roast in America, but we have lots of We just you'll be a little more general. Just be like, oh, my mom's cooking is the best. My mom's lasagna, or my mom's chili, or my mom's spaghetti, stuff like that. Maybe that's kind of the American version.
48. Although fish and chips are really famous here, I would say that going out for a Chinese and going out for a curry are way more popular. We do that way more often. Fish and chips, I probably have it once every 2 years.
Wow. Okay, see, this is the kind of thing Americans need to know. This is why I'm glad I'm watching this video in the first place. These little nuggets of information that tell me the truth. Fish and chips, out of style. No. Chinese food, curry. This is what's happening with the people of Britain. This is good for me to know. Chinese food is immensely popular in America. Extremely popular. Curry, not so much. Not at all, honestly. People enjoy Mexican food in America, Chinese food, American food, maybe if you'd call a cheeseburger or something that, a steak and fries. But I'm more fascinated here to learn about the popularity of curry and the unpopularity of fish and chips. I feel deceived.
Fish and chip shops have declined in quality. Number 49, we will do literally everything in our power to avoid the most minor awkward situation. I was walking with my friend the other day. She is quite awkward, and she had a plastic bag full of shopping. She saw someone she knew, the bag broke and emptied out, but instead of stopping to pick it up, which would mean she would have to talk to this person, she just carried on walking with an empty bag.
Oh,
and I just thought that is peak British there.
It is, man. Oh, well, it's kind of what I said about Americans telling you their real thoughts about stuff. Americans seem to be very okay with creating awkward situations and uncomfortable situations. So, I don't know. It kind of depends. There's a big variety, I think. Some people would continue carrying on with their little bag that just broke open, and many people would stop and make a scene and acknowledge it and whatever. However you want to cope with that, that's your business, whatever you like.
Number 50, women seriously underdress for the weather on nights out. On New Year's Eve, you will see women in like bikini tops and tiny dresses, bare legs, strappy heels.
Well, that happens in America too, I guess.
They don't necessarily get cold, and this is a phenomenon we like to call the beer blanket. Once you have enough beer in you, you can't feel the cold.
I have never heard about the beer blanket. I am so excited to share the word about the beer blanket from now on. That's what that is. Wow.
Right, those are my 50 random, weird, and just a bit quirky facts about British culture and British life. I hope you enjoyed them. Don't forget to check out Audible. You can claim your free audiobook.
I did enjoy that immensely. 50 weird and confusing facts. I am a bit confused, but I think I'm better for it, honestly. This video was by English with Lucy, by the way, and I liked it. I gotta give that a like. I thought there were the vast majority of these facts I really had never heard before, which is so refreshing, so nice, because you tend to hear the same old things, the same old stereotypes and facts about Britain, but these were weird in the best way, so I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture and stuff in Britain I've never seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.